Hello everyone and welcome back once again to QuipScope, the show where we take a look at a video game that has just come out and give you our first thoughts and then a little quip at the end. I'm Peter.
And I'm Ben.
Hello Ben, you alright?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. We're very close to that PlayStation 5 European launch.
Very, very close indeed. But to tide you over while you wait, you've been playing something on the piece, haven't you?
The piece, yes. The PUC, the personal computer. I have indeed. I'm not much of a PUC player, to be honest, but obviously this new video game we're going to talk about today, Godfall, is a console exclusive on PlayStation 5, so it does have some clout. It was also the first confirmed PlayStation 5 game way back when, months ago, otherwise known as last week.
Yes.
So it is of some significance. Now, I will quickly say, before we get into the meat of this conversation, Peter, that we were very kindly supplied with codes by Pat, our good friend Pat from Gearbox Publishing, who did actually publish this game. And the footage
on his own.
Pat did all on his own.
Yeah.
It's called Pat's Gearbox, is what it's called.
Yeah.
And the footage you're seeing is unfortunately not mine, because one thing that no one can deny about this game is that it's very pretty, and my PC could not handle recording and playing at the same time. So my footage, very briefly, this is what my footage looks like. Oh, it's horrible, Peter. Look.
Ew.
Oh, disgusting. Rubbish. Get rid of it. So we're borrowing some footage, citation in the corner of the screen and also in the description there. But I played about an hour and a half, roughly, of Godfall.
Yeah. Tell me about it. It's a sort of action RPG thing.
It's a looter slasher.
Right. Oh, of course. Yeah. It's not a looter shooter. It's a looter slasher.
Does that inspire you with whimsy and an excitement to play it?
No, because I don't like looter shooters very much, personally.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, you like your Borderloids.
I do like my Lorder bands.
But I don't like looters very much. And even, I don't like taking a slash unless it's very well done. I think it's very easy to make a game where you just swing a sword and lots of people die. But you've got to do it in a clever way, so it doesn't immediately fill me with whimsy, but maybe I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
Okay.
It's crap.
Quite
frankly, I don't like it at all.
It's crap.
No, okay. Let me take a little step back there. That's not nice. That's not a nice way to describe this game, and I'm sorry. I don't think it's very good.
Right.
It is by far, or by a significant margin, the lowest reviewed PS5 launch game. Obviously, I'm playing the PC version. I don't know how it's reviewed on PC. I don't imagine it's much different. It is very pretty. It's a very pretty game, I will say that. But in that sense, I feel like it falls firmly into the launch game. What's the sort of like the prototypical launch game? Right. Every console launch traditionally has a game like this, where it's really, really pretty, and it shows off graphically what the new hardware is capable of.
Yeah.
But it's not that interesting as a game, and it's kind of shallow, and doesn't go much further than that. Thankfully, as proven in our every Xbox and every PS5 launch game ranked from worst to best list, which have just gone out on the channel, you can go watch those, that trend has been severely bucked this time around.
That's true.
On both sides of the aisle, lots of excellent launch games. However, this one, just by contrast, feels like even more of a relic of the past, where it's like we don't do that anymore. We don't need games like this anymore.
I can confirm that you are not alone. I've just got the Metacritic page for Godfall PC version here in front of me. The Metascore from critics, according to 8 reviews, is only 60% average.
Oof.
And the user score, which is less trustworthy, but anyway, it's according to 82 ratings, is 4.2 out of 10, I'm afraid to say.
That sounds a little review bomby. I wouldn't review it that low.
It does a bit, yeah. It's quite low. But the average, in fact, the critic scores are almost all of them are 60, actually. So that's why it's average 60.
Okay, well, anyway, enough philosophizing.
Sure.
Let's talk about the game itself. So, yes, it is a looter slasher involving melee weapons largely. You can throw your shield. That's a thing you can do. Feels a bit God of War that, but then it has to recharge. I know you can't throw your shield in God of War, but basically the shield feels like a less versatile and less interesting version of the Leviathan axe from God of War.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes a lot further in terms of sort of elements of other games that it steals. There are also these chests, again, that are very similar to God of War, where you have to hunt around the environment for 3 destroyable trinkets in order to unlock them, to open the chest. And then, out from the chest, spills lots of brightly coloured things that go on the floor, and they're loot. And you can equip the weapons and the various little trinkets and doodads, and that's the core loop of this, is hit enemies until they die. They've all got health bars. So It's not like a Dynasty Warriors where you can just sort of swing wildly into a mass of enemies. There are some tactics involved in terms of self-preservation. You can heal yourself with consumable items and so on. But even the core combat, I didn't find particularly enjoyable. I'm a huge Soulsborne fan, and for me, that is peak one-on-one lock-on combat. That third-person lock-on combat. That's what I want. And this feels like it's just sort of missed that entirely while trying to do its own thing. And I'm sure you can get used to it, and there's lots of cool moves that you can unlock with skill points as you level up. Like there's one that you can press where you sort of teleport to an enemy and do lots of quick slashes, and then the camera follows you after the fact to really sort of highlight how fast and cool you are. And I am just talking about one of the weapon classes, because you can get other weapon classes that are sort of tied to, I think they're called Valorplates, which are armor sets. They sort of change how you play. You can customize your classes and equip different things to adjust it. But certainly the standard sort of longsword and shield thing, which I started with, I didn't hugely enjoy. The rolling, there is a sort of a dodge button, but you don't roll, you do sort of a quick dart, which is quite Bloodborne-esque. And I know that, I'm not going to use the phrase, it's the Dark Souls or something, you know, because it's not that. But I'm comparing it to that as a third-person action sort of hack and slashy type game
thing.
Yeah, exactly. There are definitely comparisons to be made there. So the dash really doesn't make you move that far at all. And there may well be skills so you can level that up and go a bit further. But you can only really do one at a time. And also when you want to block as well. Basically, there's no interrupting animations. Once you're doing a hit and you've pressed hit a number of times, you're going to be doing those hits, going to be doing those swings. So if you see an enemy attack coming in, it's kind of difficult to block it or roll out of the way all the time.
Right.
The only time that's really evident and easier to do is when you're fighting a boss one-on-one, or just an enemy one-on-one. And usually there's more than one enemy. So that wasn't hugely clear all the time what I was meant to do there. Again, that may come with experience and leveling up and maybe different classes and builds and so on. But one thing I really was shocked by was the lock-on. Because you can lock onto enemies, and it shows a little icon over the enemy, but for whatever reason, and I feel like this feels so incorrect that I feel as though I must be wrong, but I paid a lot of attention to it after I noticed it. The camera doesn't follow who you're locked onto.
Right.
So I was locked onto a boss. They jumped at me. I rolled past them and started to hit attack, but I was hitting attack in the same direction that they were when they jumped past me. As in, the camera didn't follow them past me, and I just started swinging away from them. I was still locked on, apparently, but the camera and me was facing the wrong way and swinging in the wrong direction. I was like, this feels so incorrect.
I mean, that's what lock-on's supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't know if I'm insane and I was doing it all wrong, or there was something wrong with my game, or what, but certainly the lock-on felt weird. But outside of that, beyond the slashing, there's the looting, which is just going around these very beautiful corridors and opening lots of chests, and then going around more corridors. The plot, it doesn't really exist. You're this. It's sort of like a high fantasy type thing. You're this knight man.
It's like elemental stuff.
Elemental realms, yeah. And the opening cutscene implies that your brother leads some sort of bad legion of knights who are in charge and there's going to be some world-ending event. And, it's this sort of standard stuff where they've invented this whole dictionary of words, and it's really not very compelling. There's co-op as well. You can play with other people. I was playing on the Epic Games Store. I don't have any friends on the Epic Games Store, and I thought it was unlikely that I would have anyone playing Godfall anyway. And to be fair, I didn't look very hard, but I did not play the co-op, so I don't know how that changes the game.
Right.
However, I do know that I was pretty bored playing it, and it will have its fans, I'm sure, and it will have a home. There will be a community of players who likes this, but it just seems to be, beyond its visuals, really uninspired, and I'm not surprised, because this game to me never looked that interesting. Apart from saying, oh, this is the first confirmed PS5 game. Looks like a PS5 game, doesn't it? Visually very pretty. But yeah, as I said at the beginning, I feel like as an industry we've moved past, there are still not great launch games for consoles, but we've moved past that era now where this is the best you can sort of expect. Pretty, but not much else.
Right. So
we deserve better, Peter.
Well, that's true, yeah. I think overall, though, I want to know, what kind of game does it feel like? Kind of irrespective of the quality or how well they've pulled it off. What do you think they were trying to emulate? Is it is it Destiny? Is it Borderlands? Is it God of War with multiplayer? Like, what do you think they were trying to do if they'd done it right? Because I can't even work out necessarily from the promotional material whether this was meant to be Borderlands with swords or something else.
It's definitely borrowed a lot from Destiny in terms of those floaty menus where you've got, the cursor you can move around. You have to hold buttons to equip things and teleport to places. There appears to be, again in my limited experience, a sort of small hub area where you can look at the various, what are they called again? Valorplates.
Yeah.
Different sets of armor, which I'm assuming lead to the different playstyles. There's this big... What's the guy called from Power Rangers? Zordon?
The Zord.
Is it Zordon, the one, the blue man in the tube?
Oh, that guy. Is he? Oh, I don't know. The Zord is when they all come together. But yeah, what's the tube guy called?
Is he called Zordon?
He might be. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, Zordon. Yeah, there's one of those. Okay. There's one of those. It's a lady who appears to be some kind of goddess who's telling you where to go and what to do. So there's plot progression there. But beyond that, my experience with it, Peter, was teleporting to the one area of the map I had unlocked and hitting an enemy, then sprinting down a corridor to the next set of enemies. Then there was a branching path that appeared to go the same way, but one way had a chest in it. Right. And along the way I could activate checkpoints where I could respawn if I died. Again, only played it for an hour and a half, but it's not massively promising. It feels like they tried to do a Destiny thing, but without, again, you can do it in co-op, but without the presence of sort of a hub area or being able to hover in orbit in your spaceship and stuff. It really is just sort of a bunch of corridors and then an occasional arena where you fight a bigger person.
It almost feels like, sort of stylistically, in terms of the characters that they've come up with and the combat style they've invented. It kind of looks to me, when we first saw this and before I realised what they'd gone for, that they were trying to do a hero shooter or slasher, like a multiplayer only, almost battle royale style thing. And I'm not saying I want another one of those, but I almost feel like this game would be better suited if they'd gone a completely different direction rather than tried to do what they've done, which is have a single player option or a co-op thing. And hey, this is our world. That hey, are you interested? Do you care? No, not really. I don't. You've got this dictionary that is too much for me right now, and it's a shame. I mean, I don't revel in people working hard to create something like this and it not going down very well. But I mean, the reviews kind of speak for themselves, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to be clear, this isn't a Gearbox game. They just published it. Gearbox published this game. It's from Counterplay Games. But according to the research of our wonderful writer Philip, And as you can hear in the PlayStation 5 launch game ranked video, it's staffed by some really talented people who worked on a lot of great games. So, as a first try, they could have done a lot worse, and I'm sure as a PS5 launch game, it's probably going to sell pretty well regardless.
Right,
that box art will draw people in, those visuals will draw people in. So I'm really hoping that any kind of follow-up or subsequent title from this team will be with the benefit of hindsight in regards to this game. But certainly, I just think it's really uninspired and not a huge amount of fun.
Well, that's a shame. But more importantly, Godfall, more like Godfail. Am I right?
Oh no! That's good. Godfall, more like God awful.
Oh, very good. God awful. Like that. I don't think I can improve on that, actually.
Yeah.
You used both parts of the name.
We did. I think that's top-notch work from us there. Neither of us really want to revel in this game not being very good, but a sincere warning at the end of this video. When it comes to the PS5, you're spending $500, 450 quid. You're gonna be limited on the games you can afford, or afford to buy, or maybe even from a time perspective at launch. This is not one to spend money on. Get something else.
Wait until you've played your first couple of, big hitter launch titles, and then have nothing to play for a while. If you're gonna get this at all. Good. Okay. I mean, God.
Okay.
Right,
let's go count down the hours until PS5 comes out.
Oh, that's okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.